Welcome to the Warband, a World of Warcraft podcast. My name is Swaglock. With me today in his home studio, not my studio. We have separate studios, but maybe we should get one studio apartment and share it. I don't know. With me today, though, is the one, the only, Chicken. Dude, how are you doing, brother?
Dude, I couldn't. Pooh, couldn't.
Dude, imagine you and I in a small apartment trying to split everything. You know what? I think it's nice sharing a podcast together. I don't know if I'd want to share an apartment together.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely wouldn't.
Yeah. And let me clarify for those listening. I'm the messy one. I'm the one who's chaotic. And all over the place.
Yes you are.
Yeah. It would be a problem for Chicken more than it'd be a problem for me.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure. But dude, we've got so much to talk about today. Not a lot in terms of news, but I think just a lot of in moments like this in WoW, when you have these lulls and there's kind of time to think, right? When you're not just trying to like think through your gear or your rotations or things like that, but you're just thinking about the game. You start to think of like a lot of these conversation points that maybe we'll talk about this week and next week. Over the next few weeks possibly, and that's what I love, right? Like you just see the WoW community start spurring up conversation that really makes you think and challenges how you think about the game. But there's a little bit of news this week. One, I know normally Chicken we would do our hey, what are you up to in WoW, and we'll get to that in a second. I just want to hit on this one topic before we do anything else. A couple weeks ago, was it last week when we talked about gold prices? Repair costs.
I think it was last week.
I think it was last week, right? We talked about repair costs. Why are repair costs so expensive? It feels like it's exceptional. Myth track gear is more expensive. And we got some feedback on that episode. And if you commented this or said this to us, you're not the only one. We had a handful of people say to us, like, oh, I don't know. You know, it seems like costs are fine. Like, whatever. I haven't noticed. It's whatever. But actually, it seems like Blizzard even agreed that costs were getting a bit too crazy. And so now Blizzard has actually made some changes on the PTR, at least, that weapons and shields will no longer take durability damage from combat.
Really?
Yep.
Nothing worse than your weapon like geeking out in the middle of a fight.
Yeah, so
it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and combat durability is a weird one, right? So again, I don't know if this is really truly to make the cost less costly or to fix a different problem that's persisted since the dawn of time in WoW.
Yeah.
Where you lose total durability on your weapon or shield, like mid-pull, right? Like you've killed a couple mobs and now, or like you've just left combat. You haven't died, but all of a sudden your sword is gone. Right, and you're running into the next fight, and you're like, wait a second. It's rare, and I don't know how many people actually really experience that problem, because the moment I see my armor go yellow, I'm trying to repair it anyways, right?
Yeah.
But nonetheless, right, I can picture maybe some tanks on occasion running into a pool, their weapon's down, they're dead instantly, and it's just like, what the heck just happened?
Yeah. That's a weird one. Like, to be honest, I don't know if I truly know how weapon durability actually works.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't really think of it as something of even my weapon having durability. Like, I always thought it was, like, I know dying, like, really kills your durability, like, a lot. But I always thought that was, like, the main thing. Like, I didn't think really much of anything else. And just like taking hits was what kind of killed your durability.
Yeah, so usually dying, right? Usually dying is like the big one, but just simply being in combat affects durability too. You know, which, I don't know, that's a tough one. It's a tough one to like totally speak into. The game warns you really ahead of time. But even like shield blocks, right? Like blocking with a shield, that does durability damage to your gear, right? So imagine you're like mid-pull and all of a sudden like, oh, well, your shield's gone. You got no shield, buddy. It's just done. It's just out of the game. However, where this really starts to play out, right? So Wowhead was doing some testing, and so they said an identical 2-minute test. So basically, they did like a test on the live servers, right? Kind of as like a what's that called, Austin? Your Chicken. We'll edit that out later.
PTR?
No, not the PTR. When you're doing a like when you're testing two things, and you have the one that isn't changing, like the one that's the standard.
Oh, like a variable?
Yeah, well, sort of. I'm forgetting. It starts with a P, I think. But anyways, yeah. Let's say you have the live server test, and then you have the PTR test, right? So on the live server, right? A protection warrior on live server took 13 durability damage on their shield, and another 11 across random pieces of armor for a total of 40 gold in repairs. Now you're like, oh, 40 gold is not a lot of gold. Yes, but this was a 2-minute test. This was a 2-minute test, right? Meanwhile, the same character on PTR servers took no damage on their shield and only 1 point of damage across all their armor, amounting to about 3 gold worth of repairs. So it's hard to say exactly, right? Like it's a small test, but we might, when 11.2.7 goes live, or 12.2.7, I'm losing my mind. When 12.0.7 goes live, we're gonna see some dropped gold prices for repairs, and I think it's gonna feel good. It's gonna feel good. And the hard thing too is, like, on one hand, sure, that hurts the player a lot. But dude, our guild has been struggling. I mean, we talked about it last week, so we're not going to dive into it this week. But even our guild has been struggling trying to do that. We're trying to brainstorm ways to, like, raise gold that feel engaging and fun for our people. And so, yeah, it's just, I don't know. I think it's a good move. I think gold prices for repairs we're starting to get out there. We had a lot of changes to gear and stuff, and gold and cost of things. So I do think that feels good. While we're on the topic of gold, just a weird random question to you. On retail WoW, silver and copper just feel so pointless.
Oh yeah.
They feel so pointless, right? And you kind of want them to feel meaningful, right? Like, I feel like it'd be cooler if they felt meaningful. I understand on one hand where it's easier mathematically and just conversationally to be like, oh, that costs 1,000 gold. Rather than like, oh, that costs 1 gold and 50 silver and 50 copper, right? Like, I don't know. I understand why, but it just feels weird that copper and silver kind of even exist anymore, I guess, right? Like,
oh, I agree.
Could Blizzard delete copper from the game altogether and it not be an issue?
Oh, probably.
It's
I don't see a
bronze.
reason why. But yeah, see. Here's my dilemma, and it kind of goes like, my big thing about the durability, right, is like, if they took that out of the game, like right now, like what would be the consequence?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if they took durability out of the game, like your armor just doesn't degrade, like, whatever, right?
Yes.
Like, if they took that out of the game, like tomorrow, like, what does it hurt? And that's kind of like the same question I have with the copper. Like, what does it hurt? What does it help? Does it really hurt anything? Does it really help anything? The bronze, or like the copper, sorry, like if they took that out of the game, I don't think it really helps anything, to be honest. Like, it kind of already exists. Like, I hope they're not really doing anything to make it better.
Yeah, right. Like it's there, right? It doesn't hurt anybody that it exists. Not really. It's just kind of one of those things where you're like, why? Why does it, like, why does it exist?
Like, yeah. At this point in the game, like, why does it exist? Like, this, I mean, you could say the same thing about, like, United States currency, right? Why do we have pennies, right?
Actually, we don't. They're discontinued.
Okay, exactly. Well, exactly, right?
Right. So like, should copper go the way of the penny, right? Like, is it time to get her out of here?
But I guess, like, I don't think it really hurts anything in game if we still have copper, right? Like, does it? Like,
by the way, though, it feels more fantasy, right? And that's sometimes I think we forget about WoW. Is like, how do we make the world feel more alive and not just dead, right? And I will say, sometimes when I play Classic feels a little more fantasy than like real fantasy.
Retail, yeah.
And retail does, right? Where sometimes retail starts to feel more like a game, right? Whereas when I go into Classic and I'm like, okay, I have 50 copper and 2 silver. Like, what can I afford, right? Like, what am I capable of buying with this? It feels like I'm looking at those coins in my head and I'm trying to, like, understand it, right? Whereas in retail, everything just goes by gold, right? Like, I think of everything by gold. I'm not thinking of anything in terms of silver or copper, right? The only reason why silver, I think, could exist is maybe for, like, really low-level stuff. Right, but even still, like, I almost feel like you could delete silver from the game, and I don't know how much of a difference that would really make. Now, could we go the opposite direction? Like, maybe players really want to not have to think about their currencies and just have everything be in gold, and it's just a one-to-one. It's just like, oh yeah, this costs 100 gold. That's it. Full stop. That's the answer. With that said, though, Chicken, do you think there's any value going the opposite direction and saying, you know what, actually what players might want is to change the, I'm trying to make sure we're right. This was not a topic we were going to talk about today. It just kind of happened to come up as we're thinking about. What if they went the opposite direction, though, and actually did some sort of gold squish? And they have to be like really careful about this. And I don't know if there's even like a good way to do it, right? Because even the stat squish always has little problems. And what happens to that one player who happened to have their gold stored somewhere that was like somehow not affected by this, right? But let's say Blizzard could do it perfectly, and that there was no repercussion negative wise in terms of how systems worked or how the economy worked. Like they could just do it and it wouldn't hurt anybody or anything, right? But they did a currency squish where now all of a sudden, like, let's say 1,000 gold was actually just like now 1 gold, right? Or whatever.
Yeah.
They just kind of squished down. And yeah, sure, maybe you lost whatever amount of silver and copper you had, right? But they just kind of did like and so they just squished down. So now 1,000 gold was 1 gold, and now all of a sudden silver and copper start to feel somewhat worthwhile, right? Like they start to feel somewhat valuable. You could even argue maybe it goes a little bit further than that. You'd want to take a look right now, especially auction house. I think auction house is a big one. You kind of want to take a look at what players are spending, right? What players are spending on the auction house on things to make sure that, hey, you know what, actually there are things that only sell for 5 gold. So we want to make sure that that kind of sizing still exists somewhere. Maybe that's just a 50 copper or 5 copper or something. But right, like that all of a sudden all those currencies feel valuable, that when you loot something and you get a silver from it, you're like, yo, heck yeah, that was some good loot, right? Like right now, you just don't think about it. You're just like, oh, I've got some gold. But imagine too, like you go up to Decimus, right? Whenever I go up to Decimus and it's like, here's 5,000 gold. It's kind of like, I know that's a big number of gold, but also, and it's kind of annoying that it's really coming out, but it just feels like it's a big number, right? But it feels like a big number of gold. But imagine like I go to Decimus and he's like, I need 5 gold for this. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, that's... Five gold's a lot of cash right now, Decimus. Yeah. You're asking a lot for this reroll. Like, I don't know. Your thoughts, I've kind of conveyed what I was thinking. I think it would be cool, but I don't know if everyone else wants that fantasy that I want.
Yeah, the hard part is it's not really like, in my mind, worth doing the gold squish, because I feel like someone somewhere is going to be upset about it.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I don't think it's really worth doing, because I mean, again, like it doesn't really, it's a game. Like,
yeah,
I think at this point, if the pros don't outweigh the cons, then it doesn't make a lot of sense. And like kind of going back to the gold repair. Like if they took that out of the game, like that would save a lot of people a lot of gold. Mm-hmm. But then it does kind of take that element away from the game of like, hey, like this is real. Like you're going into combat, your armor is going to get damaged, right? Yeah, like you're going to have to, like you need to pay to get, stuff like that, right? Like it adds that core like narrative gameplay, right?
Yeah.
Versus like if they just did like a gold squish, like that doesn't really help nor hurt many people. I think it kind of makes people think differently about their currency.
Yeah.
And maybe it brings some life to the game, but I don't know. I'd rather them see them do other stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I think there's bigger stuff that they could be doing other than like, I mean, that's a relatively easy thing to do though. So I guess maybe it's not like crazy.
And maybe that would be an after the Last Titan, right? Like maybe after the Last Titan, they go, hey,
maybe
we're going back a little bit more to our MMO RPG roots, right? And so a couple things that we're doing, right? Like we're creating a new full leveling experience, right? All the time walking stuff, that's no longer leveling. That's just side stuff if you want to collect mounts, old gear, transmogs, etc., achievements. But there's now a new 0 to 60 leveling path, right? And the currency has been squished, and you're not getting blue and purple gear just from leveling quests anymore, right? Like, well, you didn't get purple before, but you get my point, right? Like, all of a sudden, like everything feels like it's a slow growth again, right? Crafting gear support, right? Yeah, it's just hard. How do they? It feels like there's a few things in WoW that over the years have kind of gotten a little out of hand, and I think gold is one of them. Has kind of gotten out of hand. I mean, the economy of WoW works. Like the economy works. It's a really good economy inside of a video game. It just feels like it's scaled a little too high, and it just needs to be scaled back down a bit. But what can you do about it, right? Inflation.
Inflation. Yeah, it's one of those things where like it's hard because there are elements of WoW. Like I think of like we think of Valor Stones, right?
Yeah.
Like what purpose did Valor Stones serve? Like to me, they served as an annoyance more than anything, right?
Yeah, I think the
but
goal
then
of
like
it
to
was...
other people, like what kind of like what did they do? Like were they a core element of gameplay that you're like, oh, like I need to defeat like enemies so that I can get Valor Stones to upgrade, like things like that. But
yeah,
that is one of the hard things that I feel like about WoW that is genuinely just like what is worth changing versus what isn't worth changing, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. And that can like, again, to your point earlier, right? Like, is it worth the risk of somebody getting upset? And maybe
like it's not hurting anything, right?
Right. Like let's say 30% of the player base really liked the change, right? It was like, oh dude, the fantasy change of this is wonderful. Like this is so good. Like we love what's going on. And then like 50% of the player base just didn't care. They're just like, whatevs. Like whatever. It's cool. And then like 20% didn't like it, right? That 20% who didn't like it is going to be such a louder voice than the 30% who did like it. And that's probably the risk that Blizzard runs against, right? Is like the super vocal minority. We see a lot in WoW, but like the super vocal minority often can be very persuasive, like very persuasive on things that they want when they really dislike something. And you just never know. You never know when you kick that bee's nest, right? And somebody writes this like super long Reddit post or Twitter post or whatever explaining why this is now the worst thing Blizzard's ever done. And they manage to convince other people that this is the worst thing Blizzard's ever done. How dare Blizzard, not let you have 1 million gold in the bank anymore, but instead 100 gold is like a big deal, right? So
yeah. I mean, I agree. Like I'm not disagreeing because I do think gold is one of those weird ones where it kind of did get like, oh, like people have like right now I'm sitting on 500k, right?
Yeah.
Which to some people is probably like, oh, that's a lot of gold. Like 500k is a lot of gold. But then to other people, maybe you being one of them, you're like, 500k is like, that's okay. Like that's an okay amount of gold.
Yeah, dude, 500 gold is, or 500,000 gold is a good spot for me to be. I feel good there. But I know people who like sit on like a hoard of like 5 million gold.
Like 4 or 5 million, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, man, like one day maybe, but like even 5 million just sounds like so much gold.
Yeah, right. And it's just kind of like at that point, it's like, what am I even? I'm making it, but what am I doing with it?
Yeah, like every now and again, I get to the point where I'm like, and I feel like I'm almost getting there. Where I'm like, man, I just got like a lot of gold. Like I should just buy like a few things with it. Where I might just like go into the auction house and just be like, oh, like this mount's kind of cool. Like it's like 50,000 gold. It's like one that I feel like I could see myself using like a fair amount. Like let's just get it. Like like come on.
And back to that question, right? Like 5 million gold, dude. I mean, that's a lot. If you have 5 million gold in the bank, like we're not knocking that. That's a good amount of gold to have.
That's
right?
A good amount of gold.
But like, I don't know. It just, the number is so big. It's just such a huge number, especially when you have like breakdowns like copper and silver, right? And the irony of it is, right, like you almost wonder like it's not something you can do IRL. Like the government can't come in and be like, "Yo, guys, we're doing a currency squish real quick. So everybody turn your money in, and we'll give you the new equivalent of that." Right? Like it's just you can't do that. That would never work. In a video game though, where all the parameters are controlled and they have direct access into your actual character's inventory, yeah, that actually might be a viable thing that could be done. And so, anyways, all that to say, right? Like, and you could be like, well, 5 million gold is a lot of gold, but there's millionaires in the world, and that's true. That is true. There are millionaires in the world, but like at that point, then 5 million gold should be like I can just buy everything that I want, right? Like ever. And even then, it still doesn't always feel like that. Like the original Brutosaur amount, I think, was kind of close to that, maybe more. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah,
Maybe
exactly.
Maybe it's just a million. Maybe it's just a million. I'd have to look it back up.
No, I mean, I agree 100%. Like, it's just one of those things where, like, I just don't think a stats or a gold squish makes a lot of sense in a game like this.
Yeah, I think from the fantasy element, and I think that's where you and I view WoW a little bit differently too. I'm always trying to think like, what makes this still feel like I'm in that fantasy world, right? Like I'm still on an adventure with my character. And dude, having 500,000 gold in my bank account does not make me feel like I'm that adventurer, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Right?
That's fair.
Now, granted, am I the champion? Sure. So maybe that's appropriate for the champion. And I do have a pretty nice home, so
go on an alt. That'll make you feel better.
Right? But then my alt will like go loot one mob and now have 500 gold. I'm like, oh, okay. All right.
Oh, that's fair. I'll give you that.
I don't know, right? Like sometimes I want to be pecking through my coppers to see if I have like enough to like pay. Yeah, I just don't know. So anyways, all that comes out of the original conversation about we're going to be saving some money on gold repairs moving forward, which is nice. But dude, nice. Chicken bro, what have you been up to this week? Anything fun in WoW? We're kind of hitting that back end of a season where it starts to feel like maybe we're drifting into other games and stuff, but anything in WoW that you've been like kind of enjoying?
Yeah, not too much. I've been playing around doing a couple little things. Not anything crazy. Just trying to get some of the last minute things done. Yeah, there's some things that I'm like, I'd like to do these, but then I'm like, this seems like a lot of work. I've yet to get KSL. I'm at the point where I'm like, I need to just do it, but I don't know, like to queue into like a 10 to me is just like, yeah, I'll just queue into a 10. Like, you know, like
it's easy. Yeah, it's simple.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Right. Yeah. But then when I think about queuing into like a 12 or a 13, I'm like, I got to put effort into this. And I just don't know if I want to put effort into it right now. Does that make sense?
Dude, totally makes sense. That's where I'm at right now. I think like 14s are that point where it's kind of like you hit that moment where you're like, yeah, I'm really good in this area. Do I really want to now step into somewhere where I'm going to be like kind of bad?
Yeah, and like to be honest, like I don't even know if it's me. I think it's just like generally overall like the experience of doing it.
Yeah.
I'm like, do I really want to go in this? Because the last couple like high keys that I did just did not go well at all. Like they went horribly. So I was like, do I really want to just like go and do this where like I could spend like a half hour and not even get like what I wanted to get out of this? Yeah. And that's where I really struggle with WoW as like an MMO is like, man, like I could just not have to deal with other people. And if I could easily like, I don't want to say easily like just deal with this on my own, like then that would feel so much better. But like, I don't know. M+ is fun enough where I'm like, I don't want to not do M+. Like I don't want to become like a delve dude.
Yeah, one of our delve dads.
Yeah, so it's like I want to keep doing M+, but you get to the point where it's like, man, sometimes you just got to put together like a homie group and just do it, right?
Yeah, I feel
but
that.
Then, like I
feel that.
I play at such odd times where it's like, dude, I was like on at like, 5:30 this morning, and I'm like, man, who else do you think is on at 5:30? Like, who else is on right now? Literally, no one was on.
Yeah, nobody in the
So
guild's on at 5. No, a.m.
there might have been some stragglers on the West Coast that were still on, but like not very many people were on at 5 East Coast
Dude,
time.
I will laugh sometimes. There have been a few moments when I've been on like super early, and like I'll get a message from one of our like West Coasters who are like up, and they're like, "Dude, what are you doing on?" And I'm like, "What are you doing on?" They're like, "Oh, it's 2 a.m. for me." I'm like, "Oh, never mind, never mind." I think sometimes Sundays I get up at like giga early for work sometimes, and so that's when like it'll happen, especially where they'll be like, "Swag, why are you awake?" And I'm like,
Why are you awake?
"I'm like, why are you awake?"
It's only 2 a.m.
I'm like, "Why are you awake?" And then
Only
like,
2 a.m.
and then like, "Oh, it's 1:30 in the morning for me. I'm just gaming." I'm like, "Oh,
It's
okay."
only 1:30. What else would I be doing at 1:30 in the morning?
Dude, listen,
like,
man.
come on.
Before I was married, dude, that's what I was doing. I was playing WoW 1:30 in the morning.
No, you weren't.
Yes, I was.
Actually, yeah, you were.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was,
you were.
dude.
Yeah, you
Yeah, I
were.
was.
Yeah, you
Yeah, I
were.
was.
That's fair. Yeah, you were.
Dude,
Yeah,
let me tell you, man, I haven't yet convinced my wife to also stay up till 2 a.m. gaming. I don't think I ever will.
Good.
I don't think I ever will convince her, but yeah.
Good.
Dude, but I get that though. I get that. And I think we probably have a good amount of listeners who get that too. You kind of hit a point, especially if you're pugging more than anything else, right? You kind of hit a point where you go like, man, I know I can go into a 10. I can go into a 12, and it's going to be fine. Like, I'm going to have no problem. I know the routes. I know what my character is capable of. If we screw up, I know it's because somebody else screwed up, right? Like, I'm just not worried about it. But right now, right, like, I've got 12s and 13s, and I know I need to start pushing 14s. Like, 14s is where I should be. And I think about it. I'm just like, oh, but what if I screw it up? What if I mess it up? Right? Like, all of a sudden, those worries start coming back. And there hits a point where, like, you just kind of, you get so stressed about it and anxious about it that you're like, oh, I'm just going to stay where I'm at, right?
I'm just gonna go play something else.
I'm just going to stay where I'm at. Like, I'm just going to do whatever. Or I'll make an alt, right? Like, a lot of times I make an alt because I'm just like, well, I'll make an alt so I can go back and do those easy dungeons again. And it's challenging. I'm kind of starting my push. Haven't totally made my push with KS, no, for the 3400. I'm like kind of pushing that way. KSMM. KSMY. But I did get another achievement this week.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did. I'm officially a cutting edge raider.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
No, stop.
No, I'm serious. Yeah.
I know what you're talking about, which is pretty cool. Like that's a big deal that you guys got a mythic raid down.
Yeah, so we got mythic chimeras down.
And I don't know actually how that works. Like, is that actually how it works? Like, you actually have cutting edge now?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So every one of those raids gives a cutting edge.
An amount with it?
No, not the mount. And the mount, I don't think the mount's ever a guarantee for cutting edge. The mount is only ever a random chance drop. I think it always drops to one.
No, there's always a cutting edge mount.
No, I think the mount for cutting edge drops for the last boss, and then you roll on it.
No.
I'm pretty sure about that. Listen, neither of us have ever actually gotten. Listen, I'm the only one here who's ever gotten cutting edge.
Dude, no, because I'm telling you, like, I legitimately was about to pay for a cutting edge carry because I wanted the freaking keys to the G-Wagon so bad.
Yes, that's correct. So the cutting edge does not guarantee a mount. It does, though there is a 100% drop rate on a mount for killing the boss. And so most of the time, guilds will offer the mount as part of like the carry cost. That like you'll be the one who gets to win the mount. Does that make sense?
Dude, I don't think. Hold on, I'm looking it up.
Which raid are you talking about? You're talking about
I'm talking about
Undermine?
Liberation, yeah.
Yeah. It does not give a mount. It just gives a title, which I did get the title. I did get a title for it. I think it's like Dream Eater is the one, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm I'm a cutting edge raider now, so it feels pretty good. It feels pretty good. Just want to put that out there. Put that out there, swag. You can call me Mr. Swag now. Now that I'm cutting edge.
Oh my gosh, Mr. Swag.
Yep, Mr. Swag.
What?
Yeah,
What?
yeah, because I'm cutting edge, dude. I'm cutting edge, bro. You got you got to give me the honorifics now.
Mr. Swag.
Yeah, Mr. Swag. Cutting edge.
Oh my gosh, this guy.
Cutting edge raider. With that said, though, we got Chimeras down. We're gonna go and try to do a few bosses maybe on Void Storm. We only did Chimeras. We probably should have started in Void Spire and gotten the first 2 down first and then gone to Chimeras. But we wanted that trinket real bad, so we went right to Chimeras. I don't know how long we're gonna spend on Chimeras, farming Chimeras. I'm worried that our raid leader is starting to wear out on how interested he is on pushing Mythic. So we'll see what this means. I know our guild does like some more goofy, fun kind of raid nights, like Paladins only or Druids only, and some like other ones. So we'll see. We'll see how those go. But I don't know. They're fine. They're fine. They're right. They're okay. They're goofy. I think some people really enjoy them, so I'm not super worried. I will say though, progging Chimeras has probably been the most fun of all the raid fights we've done this tier.
Really?
Yeah, I really love prog. I really love a boss that we don't one shot, right? Like if we get it down on the first night, that can be a little disappointing to me. I really love a boss that like we kind of accomplish together. We get down together. Only problem is like we're right on the line for like players, like for players available for Mythic, and so we pretty much brought all of our bench in this week. I think the last couple times we had pretty much bring all of our bench in, and one of them we even like had to bring like an outside gamer in to kind of fill a spot. Which is fine. So this week we killed Chimeras, and then I think we had like an hour 45. I think we had like 45 minutes left. So then we went back to Void Spire, and we helped since we had like our reserve players in. We went back to Void Spire because a lot of them missed the kill on Laura. So we went back to Void Spire with our last 45 minutes and just or not Void. March on Call Dinas. Sorry, I'm blanking. We went back to March, killed Laura on March so that they could have the Laura kill as well, which we actually got that kill pretty clean considering we only ever killed that boss once before. I think it took us like 3 pulls and we got him down. So I was very happy with that. That was nice to see. I did not get the trinket though on my bonus roll, so I'll have to try again next week.
Yeah, usually you need to get that trinket. Yeah. Although I have no idea what the trinket is.
Gift of the Onseer, I think it's called.
No idea if that's good or not.
It's like this for everybody, basically.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much this for everybody. It drops from Chimeras. It's super good. Yeah, basically, and it's not an on use. It's just like a general. It just gives you more damage or healing.
Yeah,
but it's pretty nice and gives you a stat. I think. Never mind. I think it gives you stat. So. Primary stat. Gives you more primary stat.
Primary stat. Woo! Yeah, I've never gotten a raid trinket this tier. Yeah, literally have not done any of the raids. Dude,
should have come with us to our Mythic Prog.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, dude. DKs were in hot need on Chimeras. Let me just say that. We were needing some DKs. Well, actually, we had. Yeah. I think there were 3 of us, but we could have taken a fourth.
Well, maybe next time.
Yo, our real problem, actually, like real note, a big problem we have is we just don't have any like ranged. We don't have like any ranged on our raid team. I mean, we have a few, but not a good balance. And so, I do wonder, like, man, this is such an interesting topic, and I don't want to spend forever on it, but like, is there value? And again, I can say these things because I'm not the one who decides, right? Like our raid leader decides these things. Let him make the call. But is there value that we have to step back and say, hey guys, for the future, for raid, like we have limited spots for different like roles, right? Because historically we've been very lax because we don't really love having to be like, oh, you can't come because we don't need more of what you're playing. And I get that people are listening and they're like, wow, Swag, that's really elitist. That is kind of mean of you to
Wow,
do that,
Swag.
right? Like, just let
It's
people
really
play what they want to
elitist.
play and have fun and push what they want to push. Like, don't force
Swag and elitist? Never
don't
would have thought.
don't force them to play something they don't want to play. And I get that. I totally get that
Yeah, you
sentiment, right?
elitist.
With that said, it is kind of frustrating when you're doing a boss like Laura, right? And all of a sudden, like, there's like certain guarantees of which class it's going to land on. But oh, wait, never mind. You don't have enough range, so now all of a sudden it's going to be kind of random. And you're like, oh, okay, well, that's weird.
That's fair. Yeah, that's
right?
kind of annoying.
Like, it actually like genuinely just makes things harder, right? And I guess the question ultimately is, and maybe not one that we're going to answer, but the question ultimately is like, how willing should you be to shoot yourself in the foot to let somebody else enjoy their time? Right? And I know I kind of
pretty willing.
I know I kind of said that a little harshly, right?
Pretty willing.
But
yeah. I get it.
right, but it is like there is an element to which when you're joining a raid team and you're like, do I want to do something that's going to make it easier for everybody, or do I want to do something to make it harder for everybody but more enjoyable for me? And there's a balance. There's a healthy balance there, right? I think if I had somebody who just strictly said, no, I'm only focused on what's fun for me and not like good for the raid team, I don't think I'd want that person on my raid team, right? And there probably are people like that on my raid team that I just don't know because it's worked out so far. Like, so far it's just been like, oh yeah, well, it works. So, no question about it. But I want to at least believe that to some degree, every one of us on the team isn't just in it purely for ourselves, right? That like most people would be like, hey, I much prefer to play this. This is what I want to play. This would be fun. But if you really need me to do something else, like, I get it. Like, I understand and I can switch. But
yeah, like,
I'm not gonna be the first one to offer that, right? Like, and that's fine.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
that's
exactly,
fine, right?
Yeah.
If you're just like, no, under no circumstances, right?
Yeah, I'll do it if every 19 other people say no, then yeah, I guess I'll do it.
But I just don't know if I want to be a part of a team of people. Like, if there's people on the team that are like, oh, like, screw Swag completely, like, I don't care. And I don't know if I want to be on that team, right? I want to at least know that like everybody to some degree is willing to like be flexible for the greater good of the raid team, right? Like, I don't know. It felt like when we first killed Laura, it felt like we had way more deaths than we probably should have had, simply because we would get the P2 or whatever, and it was just like the laser beams were so random. But whatever. Is that big of a deal? Probably not that big of a deal. I mean, it's just, and then you turn around and you're missing the shaman buff. It's like the best buff in the game. We're like, oh, that's right. We don't have the shaman buff.
That's Swag's fault.
We're not like mythic chimeras. We're like, whoopsie doopsie. Right? Yeah. I stage shaman?
That's where like the social guild kind of aspect just like rears its head, because we're definitely not a competitive guild whatsoever.
No, and I don't think we have to be competitive. I don't think I'm asking for that, right? But just to some degree, it's like, hey, like, you at least want to make sure that everybody there isn't just purely there for themselves, right? And it's like, hey, no, I'm here to be a part of the team, right?
Sure.
Not to take advantage of the team.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of hard with AOTC, because AOTC is definitely like one of those ones where it's like, yeah, you can easily get this with everyone kind of, even if you got some bots on your team, right? Like you can still get AOTC.
Dude, Laura was hard.
It does come.
Laura,
Laura
was hard for an AOTC boss.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Like, there are some hard fights in the past that took us a while, right? But like, to the point that
Laura's harder than all of those ones.
No way.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
How many pulls did it take?
I'd have to look it up, but we also cut a bunch of people.
Okay.
Like, we had to bench people because they couldn't live.
Yeah, but like, even to that aspect, like, I think back to what's it called? Frickin' the spider one, the Rubian Palace, right? where, bro, we literally almost killed the boss on phase 1, but we could just not get past the mechanics on phase 2. We just struggled.
Yeah, I think Laura's harder than the spider. Than Queen
I don't think the
Ansarek,
spider one was that difficult. I think we just struggled to get past that phase, right?
Yeah. But yeah, again though, I don't think Laura was a bad boss. I actually had like a lot of fun with Laura. Just was a really hard boss for AOTC. It was like surprisingly hard for AOTC. I think Jailer was easier. I think Ansarek was easier. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's like a boss that I remember that was like super hard.
What's it called was, I think we struggled on a fair amount. The lightning dragon.
Oh, Razagath. Razagath we struggled on.
Yeah, Razagath I feel like we struggled on a fair amount.
Razagath was a hard boss for sure. I think Laura might be harder than Razagath. Razagath also has some user error problems on our end.
Yeah.
But again, Laura was a fun fight. There's a lot happening, a lot of specific things. But once we got it down, we had it. The nice thing though is by the time we killed Laura, I mean, and then this is also hard too. By the time we killed Laura, like most of our group was like over half geared in like mythic gear, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we're not even fighting Laura at the intended difficulty. We're fighting Laura at the nerfed by our great gear.
The supercharged difficulty.
Yeah. So it's hard to say, but we've been talking for a while, Chicken. I want to swap kind of a few topics that I think would be worth talking about today. See where they go. We have a decent list, so if we don't get to all of them, and I don't think we will, we got some topics for the future. But just a few ones, right? So the first one I'll bring up with you is like, do you think, and I'm seeing it kind of around right now, so this is why it's kind of on my mind. Do you think that M Plus should have a queue system?
Not really. No. Not really. No.
What makes you say no?
That would be pretty bad. I think once you get to that like level of not even that level of difficulty, once you bring in the timing aspect, I think it's like that's when I feel like you should respect people's time. Where I think if it was a queue system, I think it would be like people. Yeah. So okay, this might be like totally irrelevant, but I think and you're probably like, well, that's fine. Like that kind of already happens. I think you'd find a lot of people like just like steamrolling through like twos in a queued system to like get like vault gear and like things like that. And that's fine probably, but it kind of goes back to the same like notion of like we've had people say like, oh, like heroics are so fast, and it's because most of the time it's just like someone jumping in that's just like running through. They might not even be a tank. They're just running because they want to gear their character really fast. And like that's fine, but it kind of hurts like the person that's there to do it quickly. Or not to do it quickly, like to kind of like do it at a good pace and learn. And I feel like if that happens, it's going to turn low keys into pretty much just like fast track, like getting hero vault. And I'm not necessarily like saying that's a bad thing, but I think it kind of hurts those players that do twos because they want to learn, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, to be honest, I think a queued system is fine, but I think if they do go to a queue system, it needs to be one or the other. Like, you can choose. Like, you shouldn't have to purely do the queued system. You should be able to go and make a key and work with it that way.
Yeah, and by the way, to that point, I think it would be impossible for Blizzard. I mean, unless Blizzard forced it as like, oh, you actually can't enter in Mythic difficulty unless you do so through a queued system, right? But then that would suck because people are like, I just want to play with my friends, man. What the heck are you doing? That would be such a disaster that Blizzard could never go down that route.
Yeah, unless they're like super low keys.
Yeah. Now, Right. If I'm trying to think through the person, like the people who I've heard say this, right? And I don't know any of these people personally. None of them are part of our community. I'm sure there are people in our community though who would like to see a queue system. The biggest thing I can gather is that I think people just really hate queuing up for a dungeon and putting themselves out there and being told they're not good enough. And they're looking at their gear and they're like, well, I'm trying to get into a +6, and my eye level is actually plenty good for a +6. But you have people who are like 20 eye levels higher than me queuing for some reason into a +6 as well. What's also funny to me, by the way, though, is like I've also talked to plenty of people who are in our community or in our guild who have been like, oh, I'd love to try M+, but I don't know if my character's strong enough yet. And I'm like, hey, man, I'd love to run the +2 if you want to do it. And he's like, and by the way, this has probably been like 4, 5, 6 people this season, whether in our guild or through our Discord with the Warband. And I think it's mostly because I've been more proactive this season trying to get people into M+. But they'll be like, oh, I just don't know. I don't know, like, if my gear's good enough. And I'll be like, yeah, what's your eye level? And they're like, oh, my eye level's like 275.
Interesting.
Bro, you could be in a +2 at like 215, 220, or +2 at like 215, 220 eye level. So you're probably plenty good at 270, right? But there is just that like fear of like, I don't know if my level's good enough, and they're actually way over geared, right? Like there's nothing that a low key is going to give you that's like beneficial at that point, right? And so those players are also queuing up because I do think there's a lot of players who are saying, I'm going to wait till I'm way over geared for this content so I don't embarrass myself, right? And so now groups are pulling those players in, even if they don't have any rating, they at least have eye level. And then there's players like me, right? Where my wife will be like, hey, I want to do a key. I'll be like, awesome, why don't we queue into a key together? And she's not super good. Her gear isn't super crazy. I think she's like 255 eye level right now, 257 maybe. She just got a bunch of gear this week, so her eye level should be a little bit higher. But we're like queuing in, and I'm like 285, right? With like over, I think it's like 3.1k eye level, queuing into a +3, right? And so sure, is there another tank who would probably love that spot and Swag just took it from him? Sure, right? But I have no shame in wanting to do content with my wife and playing on a character that I know will make it a little bit easier on my wife, right? Which, by the way, she was pumping in the Pit of Saren we did. We did like I think like a +5 Pit of Saren or something, and she was pumping some numbers in there. So I'm not too worried about her anymore. You know, so there's all that aspect of like I get why players would want the queued system, right? Especially if you're playing like a DPS and you're declined over and over and over again. With that said, I do think if you're asking for a queued system in M+, I don't think you've actually really thought about it much, in other than the fact that you would like faster queues, right? I don't think you've personally actually put a lot of thought into it. And what I mean by that is, first and foremost, when we talk about like the queue system, you have to have buy-in for it to work, right? And so if we're in a situation right now where you're having a hard time getting into dungeons because there's a shortage of tanks and healers, and when there's a shortage of tanks and healers, that inversely also means that there's an abundance of DPS, right? Maybe the problem isn't that we have a tank and healer problem. Maybe the problem is that we have too many DPS. Has anybody thought about that?
I mean,
has anybody thought about
honestly,
that? Maybe the problem is that we have too, right? Like, because we're always like, oh, not enough people want to play tanks and healers. Maybe the issue is that too many people want to play DPS. All right. But let's take that a step further, right?
We fixed it.
If there's a queued system, why on earth should I ever participate in that queued system?
Oh, I agree.
Right? I won't. I will never participate in that queued system if it exists. And let me explain. If there's a queued system, I'm going to join, like there's no, like, as a tank, there's no reason for me to join a queue to get randomly put into a dungeon when I can go open up the dungeon finder, find somebody who's listing their key, and say, oh, that person looks good. I'm going to go join their key. They'll be good at putting a group together, right? Now, all of a sudden, all of your tanks and healers are saying, well, I can get into a better group and just as fast, not using the queued system as I would using the queued system. Maybe the one benefit is as a tank or healer, you're getting like insta queues, But even then, right? Like even then, you're saving what, like 5 minutes, right? So it's
Yeah.
not like
Yeah.
not that big of a deal, right? Like honestly, in the time it takes me to get to the dungeon, they've probably put the group together once I join a group. So there's no conceivable reason that I would ever want to use that queue system as a tank. Secondarily, as somebody who's trying to push my key, right? Because I find a lot of times people just want to push other people's keys, right? It's like, oh, well, I don't need my key because my key's not rating for me. Okay, well, run it and see what you get afterwards. Keep getting good,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But the right, like as somebody who lists their own key a lot, why on earth would I ever queue? Why on earth would I ever queue when I can list my key and handpick the best people I can find, right?
Exactly.
Also, if you are a good player, like you're like, dude, I know M+, I'm good, my rating's good, my gear is good, like I play well, my times are good, why would you ever use the queued system when you can just get into a group? So what you're doing with the queued system is all the people that you want in your group are no longer going to queue in the queued system. By the way, also, whatever is meta is going to stop queuing in the queued system, right? So, like, all of a sudden, you're losing everything desirable. And now you have, like, an abundance of non-meta DPS sitting in the queued system waiting forever. Literally forever, because they'll probably never find a group.
Yeah,
it doesn't
not.
work. Conceptually, it can't work. Like, there's no conceivable way this works. Now, somebody's listening and they're like, yeah, but Swag, what if the queued system didn't risk your key being dropped down and instead it lets you have a random key that you got to run and wasn't related to your... Okay, cool, I guess. That doesn't really fix the problem. It kind of maybe alleviates it a little bit, but not really that much, right? And so that's where, like, when we talk about the queued system, it just ultimately falls apart. There was one other detail too. There's one other details too with the queued system that when you were talking, I thought about. Oh, you know what it was? And I've never thought about this before until you were talking earlier, Chicken. But I wonder, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw content get easier when LFG was added originally into the game. And what I mean by that, I don't mean like the moment it was added, it was easier, but I think progressively Blizzard probably tries to make queued content, specifically like normal heroic dungeons, doable no matter what your group composition becomes with that queue system, no matter what the skill level in there, right? You could have 5 dudes in there sharing 4 brain cells, and that dungeon should still be doable, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
And so does a queued system force WoW to make the content regarding a queued system easier, right? LFR, for example, dude. LFR has almost no mechanics in it, and the mechanics that do exist don't do anything, right? Like they're kind of just visual only half the time, purely because LFR raiders aren't going to coordinate or learn mechanics or do anything. And again, if you're an LFR raider listening to this, sure, you could be upset with me for saying that, but also I'm sure deep down you're like, dude, Swag's right. When I'm in an LFR dungeon, I'm looking around at other people like, what the heck are these guys doing? Do they not know that? Right? Like, you know, and so once you add that queued system in, like the content, I think has to be easier. But now you're talking about M+, which is an infinitely scaling game mode. So sure, they could make, I don't know, 2s through 10s easier, but then people are just going to keep pushing higher, and they want to push higher. So it doesn't really... And by the way, does making 2s through 10s easier fix the problem? Definitely not. Definitely not, right? It just makes you say, oh yeah, I'm doing M+. Yay, I'm getting invited to groups, but the content's not nearly as engaging as it once was. You know? It's just different, dude. When I played WoW, when I first got into World of Warcraft, I loved doing dungeons when I was leveling. Like when I was leveling and we could get a group together and do a dungeon, oh, that was so good, dude. You go through and it was kind of challenging, not super challenging. It wasn't that hard. Like they were still relatively viable, but you were getting stuck sometimes. Every boss kill, the loot was exciting to see what would drop, right? Like it was pretty sick when you could get a group together and do dungeon. Now in WoW, I queue up when I'm leveling, and it's just like a chore. It's just like, oh, well, let's see how fast we can get through here, get it done, like whatever. You know, I don't know, like, I just don't think I think there's a a disease like a rot that happens to content that exists in a queue system, that kind of isn't spoken about, but really nerfs that content a lot.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think it was probably the time thing. Like once you add the time to it, it makes it kind of hard just for anyone to just jump in and do it.
yep.
Like having 5 blockheads and a timer is not like the easiest.
Yeah.
Like I think that adds like the depth that you just need a good, like, I need to be able to choose. It's hard because like we saw the squish in Dragonflight.
Yeah.
They squish everything down by 10. And now like we're still seeing that, like, where like 2s just don't feel like they deserve to be a 2 right now. Right? Like a 2 could probably be cute, right?
Yeah.
And they're making these better things because they're like hey, oh my goodness, I lost my train of thought. Sorry. They're making like KSMY or whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
3400 because KSL is like, okay, now is KSL too easy to get, right? Are they making something for even better? And I think it was mostly like, there's not really a reason to go much above KSL, so let's kind of try to give a reason, right?
Yeah. And KSL
between...
to me, difficulty-wise, feels pretty on par with what KSM was years ago, right?
Like when you started.
Yeah. And maybe that's just because I've gotten better. That might be purely because I've gotten better. But I don't think so. I think KSM...
I don't think so either.
I think KSM is significantly easier than it once was, right? And so something had to replace it.
Oh, yeah, I agree. Yeah. and that kind of deal of just like, I think a 2 could probably be puggable, but it's just that timer. Once you have that timer, I just feel like it just adds an element to just... Hey, if someone's there purely learning, I just don't think that they can take the time to learn. If they look over and they see a timer counting down of like, oh my goodness, like I'm we got 15 minutes left and we still got 2 bosses left. Like, oh my gosh, like there's no way we ever time this. And it's like, I just don't know. For a queued system, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think the horse is dead on this conversation, but I just want to beat it one more time real quick. We joke about this a bit, but I'm dead serious when I say it. Heroic and normal dungeons are way more toxic than M+ dungeons. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Now, maybe you got yelled at by some dude in a +12 because you were not interrupting anything and that hurt your feelings. I get it. Use your interrupts, please. Once you're in that content, you got to know the mechanics and you got to be a part of the team, like, right? Like you are one of the team members. If you don't do your job, they're going to die, right? With that said though, for the most part, I have way nicer interactions in M+ than I do in normal heroic. Normal heroic dungeons are so freaking toxic. And you know what? Please do not bring that toxicity into my M+ with a queued system. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Honestly, that would start to get into a place where you'd probably see that.
Absolutely.
Because people would get queued with people that they didn't pick, and they'd be like, "Thanks, Blizzard, for putting me in with this guy that doesn't know how to interrupt." And like that, just At least if I pick someone that doesn't know how to interrupt, it's mostly their fault, but maybe a little bit also my fault.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe a tiny little bit.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Chicken, I saw you put on the notes, did Decor Duels flop? That's a good, that's a good question.
Put that on.
That's a good question, dude. Did they?
In my opinion, I think it kind of did.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Like, I remember when they first said even a notion about of like a prop hunt in WoW, dude. Like, I just remember being like, oh my gosh, that is going to be absolutely lit.
Yeah,
like,
it's
that'll
be
be so fun. Like that'll be awesome. And then I played it maybe for like a week and I was just like, this is just not it.
Dude, I was listening to The Bench this week. I'm glad you put the topic down because I don't always love listening to like another podcast and then stealing one of their topic points, but when we're all talking about the same game and the same thing, sometimes it just happens naturally.
Oh yeah, it's gonna happen.
And so I was listening to Bench and they kind of brought this up. They're talking about the the season as a whole and the launch of Midnight as a whole. And Decor Duels was on there, and they talked about it as a flop. But what was interesting in their conversation was that none of them had actually played Prop Hunt. They've seen Prop Hunt. They've watched other people play Prop Hunt. They think Prop Hunt looks fun. But none of them were like, oh yeah, I used to play Prop Hunt all the time, right? You and I have actually played a pretty healthy amount of Prop Hunt.
Yeah, on many games.
On many games,
different games.
Gary's Mod. I think Call of Duty, I played it a couple times.
Yeah, I played Call of Duty a lot.
I played the Gary's Mod one a lot. Fortnite, dude. We used to play Prop Hunt with like viewers. I don't remember if I did Minecraft Prop Hunt, but I definitely
did a couple Minecraft Prop Hunt.
Okay, I did a lot of Fortnite Prop Hunt for a while with like on live streams and stuff with our viewers, and I love it. And I don't know what it was, but someone at Blizzard. And by the way, I don't think Decor Duels has to go away. I just think it needs to be reinvented. I think dude, it's like 75% there, but the 25% that they're off just makes it so unfun, right? So
yeah, oh my goodness,
right?
Yeah.
Like they're almost there, but just that little bit that's off is just gross, right? It's like if I made my wife like dinner one night and I was like, yo, I'm making you some fettuccine Alfredo, right? Oh, but also I couldn't find any chicken, so I just like cooked some rat and threw it in there. You'd be like, oh, what? Like, what?
That was kind of weird, but okay.
Why'd you do right? But that's how I feel with Decor Duels, right? Like I keep looking at things, and I'm like, Blizzard, why did you do this, right? So the idea of disguising as props, and by the way, some of it might just simply be because of limitations with the engine. And if there are some of those, I understand that, and I respect that. I get that. But I think a lot of it's not engine limitations. I think it's philosophy. So, for example, right, like
100%
traditional prop hunt game, right? You go disguise as a prop, you go hide, right? It's a lot of fun, yada yada. A couple notes though that Blizzard did that's different, right? One, you don't get to pick the prop that you disguise as. You just keep randomizing until you find something, right?
Yeah, that feels bad.
Yeah, that feels a little weird, right? That feels a little weird. Two, the other thing that Blizzard does that's a little weird is they give too much power to the Seekers. Like the Seekers,
100%.
The Seekers are like, Blizzard wants the Seekers to win. Blizzard, like, you can tell in the design of the game, Blizzard does not want the props to win. And that feels weird, right? Like,
it does feel weird.
Right? Like, a prop hunt should feel like a versus match of like, either we win or you win. You don't get points, by the way, if you never get found.
Yeah, which is weird.
Right? Like, you would think the best achievement in the game would be to hide so well that nobody finds you. Nope. Does not give you any points. Now, it does prevent the other team from getting points, so maybe in that regard, it's like a negative is a positive, but it feels stupid, dude. I've finished games of Prop Hunt where I got, like, almost no credit afterwards, even though I never got found.
And that feels bad. That feels terrible.
And you're like, what the heck, dude? I was the best gamer here, and you're telling me I get the least, right? No, that's stupid. So, also, the fact that your Seekers can just sit and spam abilities with no repercussion is weird. It's weird. So, traditionally, for those who are listening, traditionally in a prop hunt style game, you actually, as the Seeker, get harmed if you attack the wrong props. So, if you attack something that's not a player, you actually take damage, right? And you can potentially die from doing that too much. So you only have a few wrong answers that you can pick. So again, it's just like another weird thing, right? The fact that you have such wildly powerful abilities, right, that you can just use and just like spam them until something hits is like a little weird. Now I know that you technically have to tag in WoW, right? So you have to tag them physically. But once you find them, like once a prop is found, I think in all the matches I've played, maybe twice, I was able to like actually get away and hide again after being found.
I've never been able to get away ever.
Right. Yeah. So it feels weird, right? The fact that you have the flies on you as a prop for hiding well is weird. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Why? Like, and they happen so fast. It's almost like Blizzard doesn't want you to spend more than 10 seconds in one spot. Everything in Prop Hunt is designed so that the props get found as fast as possible. At one point, when it first came out, one of my favorite places to hide would be that I would like wait for all the Seekers to run out of the Seeker room, where they start, and then I would sneak into the Seeker room and then just like go to the back and hide in the back. And And it was a great spot just simply because secrets didn't look there that often. And sometimes if they did, I could kind of outplay them and maneuver them if I played my cards right.
Yeah.
It was like really good. I won quite a bit from hiding there. But there was nothing about that spot that prevented a seeker from actually finding or tagging me there. It just was uncommon for them to look there. So Blizzard blocks it off. Blizzard blocked it off. You can't go there anymore.
Yeah, I know. But even if you hide like on the top, like you can hide on the stairs like next to the lamppost.
Yeah.
And they never look there either. Like that's where I always hide. I always hide right next to the lamppost. They always run right by you and they never come back.
Yeah, I usually just do the little parkour up to the floating island thing and just hang there. But like, again, it was weird to me that Blizzard looked at that and went, oh, yeah, people aren't found there. Let's just cut it off. Like, what, dude?
Yeah, I know.
It's just a good spot. It's just like, let players figure out over time that like, oh, actually players might hide there. I should go look at some point in the match, right? It's not out of bounds. It's not impossible to get to. It's not even hard to get to. You spawn there. That's where you start. It's just, I don't know. So again, the whole thing was designed so that props have to lose. And when you're playing a game mode where the best part is the one where you have to lose, that's stupid.
Yeah, it is. It feels bad.
Yeah, dude. Like,
it feels really bad.
Being the prop should be the most exciting part, and the whole time you just feel like you're being punished. Because it's like, right? Like, I don't know, man. Prop hunt should be that thing that when I'm doing nothing else in WoW, I just sit and queue up for prop hunt. When I'm like waiting for people, I just queue up for prop hunt.
You're just like, yeah, prop hunt. Yeah, but no, never.
Yeah, it should have been like the most. It should have been the most fun thing, right? Like in normal prop hunt, right? Like you go find a prop, you copy that prop, so you turn into that prop and you try to hide. And I just think I don't know. I think they tried to recreate the wheel in this situation, and it doesn't drive.
No, it doesn't. Like I do agree. There's like just that one element that's just missing. It's like whatever they need to add, they could do it and it would fix it. And right now, it's just not in a state of wanting to be played. Like I just don't want to play prop hunt. Like I got all the decor from it. Sweet. Like that made me happy. Now I'm like, eh.
Yeah, right. It's just kind of like, eh. I mean, again, though, it should have been a goated game mode. Like, it should have been something that was awesome and evergreen, and over time they could create different maps for it, right? And instead, it's just like, and I guess some people complained as well about the like some of the bugs with it, where you could get out of the bounds and stuff. That's fine. I anticipate that people figure that out, and then devs just come in and block it. Like, that's okay with me.
Exactly.
That would not have ruined the game mode, unless it was forever that way. Like, unless every time you played prop hunt for now until the end of time, right? Like, every player just knows where the outbounds is and goes there and sits. Then I'd have a problem. But
then you'd be like, come on, Blizz.
Yeah, right. It's just, for whatever reason, though, dude, they dropped the ball on it really hard. But it almost felt like, it didn't feel like they dropped the ball. It feels like they threw the ball at the ground. Right? Like every one of these things we're talking about is intentional.
Actually,
yeah, it was intentional. It wasn't like, oh, they tried to do a little bit more than they could handle and it dropped, right?
Yeah, like a nice spin move.
Yeah, like if it was like, oh wow, the game mode's like designed well, but the engine just doesn't work well for it. So
yeah,
it
it's just not there. Yeah,
that would be dropping the ball. That would be like, it just wasn't quite there. But this feels like they intentionally made a bunch of choices that made it worse. Like it was like like somebody sat in a meeting and was like, oh yeah, we should do this. Instead of how normal prop hunt does it, we should do it this way.
And then everyone stood up and clapped, and that's what they did.
Yeah. And I get that, like, wow, like Blizzard wants to do things better than how other people do it. I totally get that. But when you're just doing like a side little funsies game mode for friends to do, like,
oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Why?
Like,
why is it this way?
Don't try to make like, don't try to like, you're trying to make something better than it needs to be. Where everyone was just hype about like what they were thinking they were gonna get. Right.
Yep.
Hey, we're gonna get this, and I'm super hype about it. Where what we got is like. Yeah, like it's not like low key. I queued in. I tried to queue into one just to see the queue time, and it's like 2 minutes long. It's like that should never happen.
Yeah.
I should never have to wait 2 minutes to play a game that I'm assuming is cross realm, and like anyone from any realm
Probably
can just play it.
cross
Like,
faction.
exactly.
Dude, class
Cross
doesn't matter.
region,
Role
probably.
doesn't matter, right? You don't need to
Yeah,
be
dude.
a
Like, it's just
tank.
whoever's in the queue gets loaded in the next game, right? Like,
Yeah.
I gotta wait for 2 minutes to wait for another 11 people in a game that probably has like 10,000 people online right now, if not more.
Also, let's say Blizzard, let's say someone from your company is listening and they have the power to change prop hunt, and you guys make these changes that we're talking about, that right, all of a sudden it feels more balanced. It feels like there's risk to the seekers, right? That the seekers have to be more intentional with the choices. Let's say you create the dopest prop hunt that the world has ever seen.
Yeah.
Which, that's not even what we're asking for. We're just asking for like a run-of-the-mill prop hunt in WoW. Easy to queue into, right? I can play with my friends. I'm not going to convince my other friends to go download Gary's mod. They're already in WoW with me.
No.
They're already in WoW with me, right? With that said, though, let's say you pull that off. Let's say you make it. One last thing I would do, and Chicken, you made me think of this. You have to have a UI menu queue system for prop hunt and any other of these like little mini games that you add in. I think it was nice at first when you like went over to the person and queued up and like felt like you found it, and there's like some story behind why this exists and how it exists and the magic of it. That's very fantasy and WoW, and I understand that. But when players aren't seeing it in front of their eyes, or they have to go over to an area just to queue up for it, they're not going to queue up for it, right? Like if I'm sitting there in the middle of Stormwind or Silvermoon, I'm like, oh, dude, let me just queue up some prop hunt. Because, like, let's say I open up the menu. I'm just, like, opening up a menu. It's like, oh, you want queue for prop hunt? Sure, why not, right? It's just different. I think you just need to make it easier, like, easier access. Even though it sounds so minor, it's easy to forget things exist. I forget prop hunt exists most of the times I log into the game, right? So, anyways, hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. We'll do one more topic before we do some listener questions. And this one's kind of an interesting one. I think maybe it's a little bit more of a you topic than a me topic. But I'd still be curious to kind of talk about it a little bit. We had one of our listeners reach out, a guy named Vector, kind of reach out and bring up a topic. And I think it stems maybe a little bit from some of the gear achievement progress conversations that we've had over time, right? And so right now, there's so much to do in WoW, dude. There's so much to do in WoW. And we talk a lot about keys and raids. But I think there's also that conversation of like people, there's different stages of life, dude. I started playing WoW when I was like 13 years old. I was like 13 when I started playing
young
WoW.
Boy.
Right?
Young boy.
Yeah, I have been 13, maybe 14. Maybe I was 14. I didn't play WoW right at the start. I think I was like a year late into starting WoW or something. But anyways, though, like life changes, dude, right? Like 20 years of a game, especially if you've been playing since the start, changes what your priorities are, what you're doing, the type of gameplay that you're interacting with, right? And I think there's sometimes this element in WoW where you feel like you should be able to achieve everything, no matter, like you, right? Like you should be able to achieve everything in the game. And you almost want it like totally catered to you, right? Like M+ should be catered to you, raid should be catered to you, gearing should be catered to you. And that's just not the case, right? There's so many people who play WoW. And even though there's so many people who are 14-year-olds like me starting WoW, or started WoW in college when they had tons and tons of extra free time in the game, and now all of a sudden they have families and they don't have that time. There's still also new people coming into WoW who sit in their parents' basement like we once did and play WoW all day long, right? So like the cycle continues. So Blizzard can't, purely cater to us, right? But there is still so much to do in World of Warcraft. So I guess the question I have, Chickens, right? Like, and I'm kind of facing this now. I don't have kids, but like in my marriage, things are changing. But have you found that having kids, building your family, has changed the way that you play World of Warcraft?
Yeah, like 100%.
Yeah, how so?
Like
like,
1,000,000%.
what does it look like? Time management, the types of gameplay they interact with.
1,000,000%. Yeah, so I mean, it is a little different for me just because my wife and I don't necessarily, we kind of, what's the right word for this? We kind of I don't know what the right word is, but like we tend not to do things individually and more as like a family. We tend not to just say like, okay, like it's your turn to watch the kids.
Yeah.
Like we typically do things as a family. Like if the kids are not sleeping or off with their grandparents or doing something, right, like we're all together. Like
Yeah.
it's never like, hey, and like occasionally there's exceptions, right? Like, hey, dada's got to go record this podcast, right? Or hey, mama's gonna go to her book club, right? Like that stuff is different, but it's
Yeah.
never like, hey, dada's gonna go downstairs and play World of Warcraft and we're just gonna sit up here and play. Like to me that just doesn't seem right. So
Yeah.
and I'm not trying to knock anyone that does that. Like that's fine, do whatever works for your family, right? So really it kind of cut the time of playing video games like insanely, right?
Yeah.
Like we joked, my wife and I, about like the COVID days, about like what did we do with our time? Like I used to like joke to my wife that like she literally would doom scroll like every single day from like
Oh yeah.
waking up, making breakfast, and then literally doom scroll until like she went to bed. And that was like very like different with COVID and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like I would do the same. Like I would just get on and play video games. I'd work from home and then like literally I would just like turn over from my work setup to my personal setup and just play until I went to bed, right?
Oh yeah.
So in that aspect, I don't play nearly as much as what I did. But it's also just the different kinds of content. Like I try not to play content that would require me to ditch something in the middle of it. Like I would never play keys unless my wife was home and like, I knew that she could tend to the kids if they were napping or,
Yeah.
at night if one of them wakes up. Like I would never do a key if I was the one, like air quotes, like watching the kids while they're napping or sleeping.
Yeah.
But it also just kind of changes it. Like, hey, like when I get on, it's mostly like, what can I get done in the amount of time that I have? And we've talked about that a couple times where we defer, where like, hey, you've said in the past, like, hey, I get into a 12 and it's like, I'm just going to do it. Like, let's see if we can do this 12, like week 2 of the season. Right.
Yep.
Where I'm like, no, like I'm not even going to waste my time trying to do a 12 in week 2 because there's no way it gets timed. Like that's going to cut into so much of my gaming time. I'm pretty confident that we can time this 6. Let's do it. Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's mostly what it is. Right.
Dude, yeah, man, I feel a lot of that, right? Like I was joking earlier in the podcast about how when I was single, right? Like, dude, I was gaming until like 2 a.m. Bro, I just like hop on, join voice chat with the other guildies, and we just no plan. Like, there's no plan or strategy. Just like,
yeah, right. Oh my goodness. Yeah,
dude. Sometimes we just like go explore the world and do stupid things and make jokes. Like we were barely even playing the game, right? And then now I'm at a point, right, where you spending time with my wife, like that's peak content. Like peak content for me is spending time with my wife. And I recognize that means that I'm going to give things up in WoW. I think that's hard. I think sometimes for people to comprehend of like, oh, I'm married now and I have kids, but I should still be able to max out my gear. I should still be able to like achieve anything I want to achieve in WoW.
Oh yeah.
And that's not the case,
it's easy enough.
I choose my wife over rewards in WoW all the time. All the time. And you know what? If rewards in WoW are more important to you, then okay, cool, I guess. Great, awesome. But for me, that's not the case. For me, dude, my wife is the most important thing to me. And so like I play WoW with that in mind. Like the goals I set for myself, this season we have crazy myth track rewards, which is cool and all, I guess, with the bonus rolls. I don't know if I love it. I like the gear. The gear is nice, but it just feels like I'm just getting a lot of free gear out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Right. I think this is the first time in my life. This is the first time in my life where my character is like nearly entirely BIS myth track gear.
Which is nuts.
Which is wild. And I'm also not spending nearly as much time gaming as I once did. Right. So I'm sitting here. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like the episode of The Office where Michael Scott is like, where you see the picture of him being promoted to manager and he's got the fanny pack on.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel, where I'm like, how how am I getting this? I've definitely not earned this gear. I'm just getting it, right?
Yeah.
Now I will say the gear I got from that Mythic Chimeras kill, that felt like I earned it. When I got that, I think I got like Bis boots or something.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, I got my Bis boots. I was like, yo, I
That's what
worked
I'm
for
in
that.
for.
Even if I got it off a bonus roll, it felt more like I earned it. I don't know. Running a 10 and then getting Bis Mythic feels weird.
Oh,
When I'm like scrolling YouTube while running the 10, right? I'm like leaving comments on Discord while running the I'm like half paying attention, and it's like, oh hey, here's Bis. But anyways, I digress. The point being though, I think it's fair. It's fair to say that some people in WoW choose real life needs and desires over stuff in WoW, and that they will miss out in World of Warcraft because of that. And that's okay. In fact, I would say that's extremely healthy. Like exceptionally healthy that you miss out on things in the game because you're focused on things IRL. But I will say too, one thing that's become interesting for me, and you had said it right, like you can't justify running a key that you have no clue if you'll be able to time it or not, because you only have so much time, right?
Yeah.
I would even take that another direction too and say, like, I don't have a limited amount of time that I can play WoW, right? Like I can play WoW as much as I conceivably want to before my wife actually would get upset and be like, Swag, you're not paying attention at all, right?
Like, okay, brother.
Right. I don't
brother.
have children. I don't have children, right? So it's not like I need to be watching them or supporting my wife right as we raise our kids. So I don't have that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when the guild goes, hey, we're just gonna re-clear heroic, and I'm already like bissed out in myth from bonus rolls, dude, there's nothing in me. There's not a single thing in me that's like, well, I want to show up to that raid and kill a bunch of bosses that I have no need to kill, simply because Steve wants to also get AOTC. Which normally in the past I would have been like, yo, Steve, yeah, dude, let's form a group right now and go get you AOTC, right? Let's make it happen. And now I'm just sitting here like, I could go spend 3 hours raiding, or I could go cuddle with my wife on the couch and watch some One Piece or something. So I don't know. Like one of those is a little bit more tempting to me than the other. But also
That's
maybe
fair.
heroic raid just feels less valuable to farm than it once did, right? A couple of years ago it felt super fun to farm because back then I wasn't dripped out in heroic gear from twos, you know. Oh well.
That's fair.
Well. Yeah, that's a whole other conversation.
That is a whole other conversation.
But it is fun. It's
that
fun.
One we definitely beat with a dead,
like a dead horse. And it is fun to think about. And by the way, like sometimes like my favorite ways of playing WoW aren't even like the challenging content, dude. Like this week I was helping my wife find some cool pets for her hunter, right? I was like, yeah, I'll go help you get some cool ones, right? So
pretty cool.
We went back because you can I think it's Magmarex is the name of the boss back in Aberrus, the Shattered Crucible, right? So we went there, tamed that, then went out and took her out to see some of like the more like traditional cool mounts people have had, like the one from Pandaria, the big dino with the armor in Pandaria, right? And we're sitting there and it's like a 15-minute spawn timer, so I guess we had like shown up like right when it was killed, and so we sat and I taught her how to do pet battles while we sat and waited for it to spawn. And then it spawned, but by the time it spawned, a random rogue showed up and killed it before we could tame it. So then we waited another 15 minutes and did some pet battles, and more people showed up and were like, hey guys, we're here to tame the dino. Can we have it, please? They said no, we need the achievement. They killed the dino. And so at that point, I was like, all right, let's go to war mode. We'll come back. At least in war mode, like, there's probably going to be less people trying to do this. And if they're horde, we can just kill them. So we went, swapped to war mode, came back. Of course, we come back in war mode, and the boss is just standing there. No one's around, and we tame it right away.
Yes.
We're like, okay, we should have done that from the start. I just didn't think people were going back into Pandaria that often to kill a random world boss, right? Like, I didn't know that was a thing. Apparently, it's a thing.
It's a hot item, brother.
Apparently, that's the thing. So, anyways, those kind of things I think are also really fun memories, and it can be really enjoyable to do those just memorable things a while. But yeah, it is funny how real life kind of changes how you interact with the game. All right, it's time for us though to get into a couple of our listener questions. I don't know if we'll have the time today to get into all of them. We have a lot to yap about. But before we do, I just want to give a big shout out and thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. You guys are amazing. You keep us on the air. If you are one of our Patreon supporters, I just want to remind you to also join our Discord. And then within Discord, you can link your Patreon account to your Discord account. And that will automatically give you access into some private channels that we have on our Discord for our Patreon supporters, where our Patreon supporters can ask their questions, or where we can just yap and talk together. Sometimes Chick and I will tell you about cool things that we're working on behind the scenes. But then even like today, we are recording this episode live, but only for our Patreon supporters. So there's even a live recordings channel there where when we're recording live, you can pop in, listen in, leave live questions, remarks that sometimes we'll get to on the show or maybe afterwards. So yeah, if you want to check out our Patreon, there's a link down in the description. We're so freaking thankful for all of you for your support. On top of that, though, we also want to welcome anybody who's looking for a guild. We know that guilds can be hard to find, especially a healthy guild. We love our guild so tremendously much. It's amazing. It's so fun. It's such a joy to be a part of. We are a social guild. Our main focus is just building relationships and connections with people. But we still do content like raiding and dungeons. And we do so in a way that creates access points for players to step in for the first time and experience things. Right now we're doing what we call our academy raids, where we teach people how to raid. And so I believe our academy raid has now stepped into heroic difficulty, which has been really fun. Last week, I think, was the first week. Tonight, as of recording tonight, we're going to pick up that progress and see if we can continue forward and get some more boss kills. So it's always fun to watch that happen. But anyways, with all that said, let's get to, actually real quick, if you are interested in joining our guild Astra, you'll see a link to the Warband Discord down in the description. Pop over to the Warband Discord and find the channel labeled Join Astra. Open up a ticket, and then in your ticket, let us know if you're interested in joining the guild or just finding out more information or have questions, and we will do what we can to help you out and get you in the guild. All right, with that said, though, we have some listener questions. First one coming in from Squirrel Thug. They said, with 12.0.7 patch bringing more gear from more places than just raid, does it seem that Blizzard is trying to show that the player base, that getting gear is easier than ever now? They haven't made it a selling point, but the gear acquisition cadence is starting to match the patch expansion cadence. People used to be vocal about not having enough time and barely getting your goals achieved at the end of the season. Now it's feasible to achieve your goals well before the end of a very short season. Do you think this is good for the game or just a result of temporary tuning Blizzard's playing with? Squirrel, I think some of it's temporary tuning. I have a few thoughts on this. I mean, everybody knows that I think we're getting geared a little too easily right now. I think it's Blizzard just trying some new things out. I don't think the seasons are that much shorter. Now, they're not the 8-month long seasons that maybe we once had, the 10-month seasons. I remember a season in Pandaria that was almost 2 years, which is wild.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but with that said, though, the seasons definitely are a little bit better paced. If I'm honest, I think WoW players can be notoriously bad at setting goals for themselves, right? And so what happens is a WoW player says, hey, I only have 2 hours every other day to play WoW. So my goal is to be a fully bissed out and myth track player with cutting edge. And then they turn around and go, oh, I didn't have the time. There wasn't enough time in the season to do that. And I think and I think we have to be careful because there's also the player who is grinding out every single day, maybe not showering, and they probably should take a couple minutes to do that, right?
Whoa.
Sorry, I have to put a little humor in there and make fun of that player, or else people will be jealous or something.
People won't shower.
Or they'll be jealous of the player who achieves a lot, right? But anyways,
well, that's fair.
Yeah, you have to make fun of them so people don't get jealous. So anyways, right? So you have the player living in their mom's basement, right? Grinding out WoW all day long. And I think the truth is that everybody just needs to set goals for themselves, right? Because what happens is if everybody's chasing after the highest goals, then the highest goals have to be pretty low, right? If everybody's after them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, Chick and I, we just talked a bit about, like, you know, the difference how we play now versus how we were playing before. Chicken going from being just married to now also having kids, right? Having a full family, trying to navigate that. To me, being in a season of singleness into marriage and, like, figuring out now how to better balance my time. My goals have changed. My goals have shifted, right? Like, what I do, what I achieve has changed. And I sometimes set a little bit higher of a goal for myself, maybe because I want to try and achieve new things. But there will often hit a point in that season where if I set the goal too high, I don't say, hey, Blizzard, you didn't give me enough time to do this goal. I step back and go, okay, you know what? I bit off a little bit more than I could chew. I'm proud of these things that I did, but I'm not going to hit that goal. And I understand that. It's not Blizzard's job to make sure I hit goals. And I think that's where I see a lot of WoW players. Squirrel Thug, I'm not saying you're saying that. That's not what I'm saying. But I do see a lot of WoW players who do complain and are like, hey, Blizzard's not giving us enough time to do everything I want to do this season. And the answer is you should play more. Play WoW more. Like, if you want to achieve your goals, play WoW more. And if your response to me is, well, I don't have the time, well, then make the time. Quit your job.
Whoa.
Break up with your girlfriend. Tell your 5-year-old to go get a job so they're out of the house more.
Whoa.
And if you say, Swag, I'm not willing to do any of those things, then maybe it's okay. Maybe it's okay that you don't achieve those goals. Because now you're saying, oh, no, Swag, I actually have things in my life that are much more important to me than these goals. And maybe you just pick goals that were too big. And that's okay. Because you and I, as people who don't have as much time to play WoW anymore, you and I should have goals in WoW that we're excited to chase after and achieve, right? Chase and achieve. That's important. But also, Timmy, sitting in his mom's basement playing WoW 16 hours a day, every day, he should also probably have a few things that feel fun to achieve. Maybe he's playing a little too much and will run out of things to do after, the first month. But I think the full gamut of WoW players should be able to achieve things and push. Not just the people like me, but the people who play less than me should also have goals that they can chase and achieve. And the people above, like who play way more than me, they should also have goals that they can chase and achieve. And that doesn't make me any more or less than them. Sure, you know what? They can run higher keys than I can. But you know what? I can probably play guitar better than they can. Right? Because actually, you know what? Capo, never mind. Dude, Capo runs keys twice my level and plays guitar twice as good as me. So maybe that's
you might just have to. Yeah. You might just have to.
Yeah. But I'm married, so haha, take that. Right? So, anyways, right?
He's married.
But the point being though, right? Like, it's not. I think we think of WoW in this bubble of like it's just WoW, right? But it's not just WoW. It's your whole life. Like your whole life only has so much time. And things. And some people are saying, no, WoW is going to be a large portion of that. And some people are saying, WoW is not going to be a large portion of that. And I think your goals and achievements should be related to that. And I know, Squirrel Thug, that's not really the question you were asking. But it's kind of on my mind because I think that's where the question stems from. I think the initial complaints of not having enough time aren't about the season being too short. It's about players having less time and wanting to achieve too much. And that, I think, is part of it. I do think, though, that Blizzard's just trying to figure out the right tuning, and I think that they maybe overstepped a little bit right now. I could be wrong, though. Blizzard could actually really love this idea of, like, making gear way more abundant and just not having that be part of the question anymore. Maybe Blizzard's like, we're tired of people complaining about gear. Here, you just get it all. You now spawn in with full Bismuth gear and have fun.
Isn't that what What's It Called does?
Like the Tournament Realms?
No, like wasn't there another MMO like out recently that basically did that?
I have no clue. Yeah,
it was like there was like a lot of hype about it, but then it kind of died down.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the problem is it becomes all skill based, right? And MMOs are fun when it's not all skill based. When there's like when gear acquisition also gives power, right? But anyways. Tiger Ace Ray has a question about the capital city for The Last Titan. However, we're kind of out of time. We've pushed our limits. So, Tiger, we're going to hold your question for next week. So keep an eye out for that. And
yeah, buddy.
Heck yeah, dude. Everybody, thank you for listening to this episode of the Warband podcast. brought to you, sponsored by EverQuest 3, the greatest of the EverQuest, the conclusion to the EverQuest trilogy. And we will see you all next week.
Fellowship, that's what it was called. Yeah, see you guys.